It is day 3 of Denver Broncos OTAs, and Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos are taking a very unconventional approach that you don't see anywhere else in the NFL, and that should excite Denver Broncos fans. While it's not quite as exciting to be scrolling through Twitter during this time, we should be very excited about the results that this approach is going to take. We'll break all that down in this video and more. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben, diehard Denver Broncos fan. Love having you all along for this journey. So we are in day 3 of the OTAs, but you will not see a single video of Bo Nix. You haven't seen a single post from a single member on this active roster who's actually at OTAs, and more on that in a second. And all of this is because Sean Payton runs a very tight ship. In fact, our 3rd round draft pick tore his Achilles like a month ago, and we just heard about it 2 days ago because he is about the work. He's not here to talk about the work. Do we want a coach who talks about it or a coach who does it? And he's been about it. He took one of the most laughable franchises in NFL history in the New Orleans Saints and won a Super Bowl with them. We've got to trust his silent approach to this. You know, one of my favorite rap lines of all time, I think it was from Lil Wayne. He said, real G's move in silence like lasagna, right? The G in lasagna is silent. And if you're actually about that work and you get the results, you don't need to tell everybody how good you are. I remember growing up, my dad telling me, like, hey, Ben, if you're really good at something, you don't need to tell people you are good at it. And so the Denver Broncos are running a tight and quiet ship at OTAs, and that is all by design. You're seeing this all over Twitter. People saying like, oh, Sean Payton has Dove Valley on lock, no OTA leaks, and that is crazy that we have not even had it verified if Courtland Sutton is there or not. We can definitely speculate by a couple of social media posts that he made from Florida that he's not there, but that hasn't been confirmed. And to me, that lack of news is news in and of itself, because if you did not have 100% of the culture bought in on that, we'd be seeing leaks. I guarantee you, if Jerry Jeudy was still on this team, we would see video of OTAs. You would hear about it. If we still had, Russell Wilson on the team, when he first got here with Nathaniel Hackett, he had his own like video hype guy who was tweeting out videos from practice. Like, we remember that. Like, not only did he get his own personal trainer and his family got to use the team bathroom and facilities, like he had his own hype crew who just followed him around putting out content. And to me, the fact that Sean Payton has this ship locked down is a sign that he's got a locker room right now full of guys who are there for the work and they're there for the action. Now, tomorrow media is going to be there, so I can't wait to hear their reports. Can't wait to see, is Bo Nix taking the snaps of the ones? You know, what does our running back situation look like? Who's taking the number 1 snaps there? Who are we lining up at wideout at 1 and in the slot and all that? We're going to break all of that down here. But to me, the fact that you can get a bunch of guys in there to keep their yapper shut and stay off social media. The greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, came out, and what was the piece of advice he just gave all the rookies at that rookie showcase the other day? He said, get off social media. And it wasn't like but 2 minutes later that you see Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels make cool little TikToks. And I know that's like this age kid, but I love the fact that you don't see that from Bo Nix, that Sean Payton has a room full of guys who are fighting against their young social media interests, and they're not out there doing it for the gram. They're doing it for the wins, and that should have us all crazy, crazy excited. You remember in one of his first press conferences ever, he came out and said, I use this term, this year we're going to be a little bit more anonymous donors this season. We're out there working with a little bit less visibility on social media and all those other things. We're here to work ultimately. It's how we do it in the fall that matters. We go from there. We have to earn it with our fans. We have fantastic fans, and they'll appreciate it when we get the results. So I love this. If you take just a look around the NFL, you're seeing, look at all these, like, the Chicago Bears are throwing all these highlights of guys with just shells on and him throwing on air essentially. And you see people just like being like, oh, we got the future Mahomes here. Like, look at Aaron Rodgers throw a 40-yard no-look pass. Well, that's not going to happen in a real game. And if it does, Pat Surtain's going to pick that thing off and run it to the house. And I just really like the fact that we are about the results. Right? Bears, all my Bears friends have texted me this like, uh-oh, you're in trouble. Look at him fading away and throwing it to the back of the end zone. And to me, man, throwing on air without shells, without a pass rush, when you can't tackle, it's going to be very, very different when you actually line up against a full front of guys who are out there to hit you. Even just seeing today, like, who is tweeting about their training camp and their OTAs. Our boy Russell Wilson, is showing all these glamour shots of how yoked he looks. And I just love the fact that we're moving in silence, and that is going to be a very, very good thing. Other thing that we are seeing is the only person who has had any social media presence on the Denver Broncos is Courtland Sutton. So Sutton, we know, is holding out for another contract. He doesn't want to come until he has more money guaranteed. He sees Jerry Jeudy and all these guys getting big deals, and he wants to join their ranks. And so what we saw is that he, in this tab right here, did I just close it? Come on, I'm such an amateur. So here he just shared this like earlier today, and it's a picture of him in Florida talking about working out. So at least he's in great shape. That's fantastic, but monitoring the Courtland Sutton situation is going to be very, very interesting. We know Jerry Jeudy on the trade market got a 5th and a 6th round pick as compensation for that, which we were able to turn into a starting defensive lineman by trading that to the Jets, and so that's fantastic. We were able to get Josh Reynolds for a fraction of what we would have had to pay Jerry Jeudy, and he's a lot less drama in there. So the question becomes, like, is Courtland Sutton going to get moved out of here and shipped out of here? And we're seeing lots of reports of teams that are needy on the wide receiver front. We even see today that at the Kansas City Chiefs camp that already the fastest guy to ever run a 40, Xavier Worthy, already has a hurt hamstring, which is just the last thing you want in a speedster. And while they're saying it's precautionary that he's out of practice already, when he's starting behind the 8 ball, a Rice suspension looming and probable, at least a couple game suspension while charges were dropped for Rashid Rice, it does seem as if he violated some of the league detrimental conduct and, or actions detrimental to the team. The fact that he did drag racing and then probably hit a guy, a suspension is looming. And now the guy who's like, oh, no worries, we got the fastest guy to ever run a 40, and now he has a hurt hamstring. And then they have another diva receiver who's drastically underperformed in Hollywood Brown. So could the Kansas City Chiefs, they've played Sutton, and Sutton's eaten them up at times. And so could they make a deal? Saw a rumor yesterday the Green Bay Packers are interested and would perhaps be willing to send a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th for him. And then what you also saw today in camp is that Michael Pittman from the Indianapolis Colts, who they just threw the absolute bag at, was ushered back into the locker room, surrounded by trainers who looked very, very concerned. And already Courtland Sutton was rumored as a trade target for the Colts, even when Michael Pittman was healthy. And so I could see if the Denver Broncos were able to turn Courtland Sutton into a couple seconds, hopefully a first, I would be willing to see it happen. But otherwise, I don't want Sutton moving on from this team unless we get a player who can help us. And who that could be would be a very interesting thing to break down, but we'll definitely cover it all here. Last piece of news, kind of just interesting, is to hear that J.J. McCarthy has been getting reamed out at practices and has already, even with no pass rush, fumbled multiple shotgun snaps and struggled with ball security, which I don't know how you struggle with ball security when you are playing without a pass rush and you have all the time in the world. And I think this is just further proof that Sean Payton did indeed go out and get his guy, and he's moving in silence right now, and he is bucking conventional wisdom by doing things his own way. And while it's frustrating for us as fans now that the Nuggets are eliminated, the Avalanche are out, the Rockies haven't been the hottest team as of recent, it is a very good thing for us in Broncos country, because that means we're doing the work, we're being about the work and not about bragging about it on social media. So Broncos country, believe, baby.